the trends for Forest are tracking in the right direction. Is this resurgence for real, and are Forest going to stay comfortably clear of trouble? Nottingham Forest are currently in 13th place in the Premier League table at the halfway mark on their return to the top level. Honestly, I haven't been too confident about Forest staying up this season, but back-to-back wins over bottom half rivals Southampton and Leicester mean things are looking as good as they have all season at the City ground. So, are we experiencing a peak in Forest season that will see them move back down the table, or is this resurgence for real and are Forest going to stay comfortably clear of trouble? Let's have a look at the evidence, and we'll start with the past and the likely targets that Steve Cooper's side will need to hit. Over the last 20 years in the Premier League, 18th place has been relegated with an average of 34.7 points. 17th has survived with an average of 37.6 points. Clunky bit of maths, but split the difference and you're at just over 36 points to survive. 1 point per game obviously lands you on 38. Forest are currently at 1.05 points per game and looking well on track based on history. Another positive is Forest's excellent home record and ability to keep clean sheets. They've got 4 of their 5 wins at the City ground and kept clean sheets in 5 out of 5, every single one of those victories. Now, I don't want to go all Big Sam, but a newly promoted team is unlikely to be banging the goals in left and right, so those shutouts and the ability to get them are absolutely vital. The identity of the teams that Forest have beaten this season also bodes pretty well. I know a win is a win, but if survival is the aim, then the vast percentage of points are likely to come against teams further down the table. If we call that win against Liverpool a welcome bonus, then the other 4 wins came against 12th, 15th, 18th and 20th in the current table. A good level to be competitive against. Perhaps a little bit more anecdotally, the big worry about Forest was how quickly could they bed down and settle all of those new arrivals this season. It was always going to take a bit of time to figure the system, starting 11 personnel, etc. But post-World Cup, it looks like a very settled back 4 and keeper. Same tight midfield 3, Yates, Freuler, Mangala. Bit of room to tweak up top, but Morgan Gibbs-White and Brennan Johnson starting to dovetail well together and looking more at home at Premier League level. I've seen Forest twice in the flesh this season. It hasn't gone too well, I have to say. They lost 6-0 at Man City and 4-0 at Leicester. Part of that Man City game, that Leicester game feels a very significant one. At the conclusion at the King Power, Forest were at 0.5 points per game and conceding 2.63 goals per game. Since then, it's 1.5 points per game and down to 1.18 goals conceded per game. In short, forget all my numbers, basically the points output has nearly tripled since Leicester away and the goals conceded has halved. Look, all the trends for Forest are tracking in the right direction. Stability is increasing, the defence is improving, the points output and league position are all up. If things stay the same, stating the bleeding obvious, Forest will stay up. But that's never guaranteed, is it? So what could possibly change that would go against Forest in the second half of the season? Well, we can argue that a couple of rivals below them are trending up too. Wolves look like they're a different proposition under Julien Lopetegui. And Southampton, okay, small sample size, but a couple of nice wins over Man City in the League Cup and against rivals Everton this past weekend. I've been expecting a trend up from West Ham for a while. That hasn't transpired yet. And let's be honest, it would be a poor show from Leicester if they're closer to the 14th that they are now than the 8th they finished last season. It should, though, be said in the interest of balance that Everton are a right mess at the moment and Bournemouth are very much trending in the wrong direction. While the home form is excellent, the away form could very much do with improving. Nobody has scored fewer points on the road than Forest, and that recent win at Southampton was the first of the season. Forest do have remaining home games against Leeds, Everton, Southampton and Wolves that you would think, on the basis of the first half of the season, they'll be able to leverage. But on the flip side of that, the entire current top four will all be headed to play at the City Ground during the second half of the season. Speaking of timing, though, Forests could be absolutely bang on with their next two fixtures against Bournemouth and Leeds. If they are in a purple patch, which they appear to be, could they add another 4 points onto the total against two sides that are below them in the table? Then that current 5-point cushion down to the relegation zone could look really comfortable in a couple of games' time. And we know how slowly teams in the bottom three of the Premier League put points on the table. So, my take for what it's worth, I have backed Forest to go down on a couple of different occasions this season, but right now they look far and away their most viable to stay up. The key seems to be continuing that home form, ability to get clean sheets, and then hopefully sprinkling in at least one or two more wins on the road. It would only need 5 wins from the remaining 19 games to land on 35 points, which has been above the waterline 5 times in the last 6 years. It'll probably still be tight, but Forest's work since that Leicester drumming in early October is very much suggesting survival. Let me know what you think down there in the comments. Look, you know me, I've tried to go information over emotion. So if we can get a little bit more detail than I support Forest, they're definitely staying up, or I don't support Forest, they're definitely going down, that would be really lovely for a good bit of debate down below this video. I keep referring to that Leicester game. It might be painful for Forest fans to relive, but I feel it really could prove the turning point. So click here to see my vlog from the King Power and all the improvements Nottingham Forest have made since.